welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a super fun one. I've been wanting to make this for a while. If you've been following my channel, you know I'm a huge fan of speedrunning in games, and I did a lot of videos on speedrunning Nest. Today's video will be how to speedrun Hardcore Tartarus. So last night, me and the Most Wanted 76 messed around with a bunch of two-man strategies for speedrunning, and we found two that work very well. So for these strategies, you're going to want Blade Rune and Azure Rune, and gear-wise, basically just use your best damaging gear you can. We're both using the Iced Out Necklace and Glacial Ring, so the necklace and ring from Frost Dragon Hardcore. I have the Godly Armor, he has Tartarus Armor, and we both have Blizzard Blade and Tier 5 Pet Gems. So we have a lot of good damaging gear. Do you need the best gear in the game to do these strats? Absolutely not, it just makes it a lot easier. Also later this week, I will be making a video on Frost Dragon Hardcore, so look forward to that. But with that said, let's hop into our first strategy, which would be the Blade Rune strat. So the way this works is one man is going to use Blade Rune with the Sword Splitter, Calamity, Havoc. Other man will be using Blade Rune as well with Sword Splitter, Lure Jab, and Havoc. Basically, the way you're going to do this is the first room, one person clears right side, one person clears left. Pretty standard stuff, clear the imps, go across the bridge. Then you're going to go against the Bones Keeper. So the way that we did this is immediately walk up to him, Calamity, Havoc, and then the other person lure jabs to start the fight. And then what you want to do is stand in front of him so that he slams you with his sword. This does a lot of damage to you, which will put you at lower Havoc, which means you'll be doing a lot more damage. The reason why you want to stand in front of him when he slams a sword is because it lowers your health quite a bit and increases the damage output due to you using Havoc. The best case situation you can have is him to slam the sword twice, and then you get max damage Havoc and shred him with Sword Splitter. I recommend as soon as you get hit once, or as soon as about 3 to 4 seconds pass, use Sword Splitter, because he doesn't always slam his sword, and it's kind of, the game can sometimes screw you over with him. We have a lot of runs where he never slammed a sword and has slowed us down, but typically he slams his sword at least once, which gives you enough damage to have good Havoc output. Now after this, you're going to move on to the second room with more mobs. This is where Blade Rune struggles a little bit. So the reason why I say that is because you will still have Havoc on and maybe Calamity. The problem is with Havoc and Blade Rune, you're going to one-shot every single mob in the second room. You may be confused on why that's a problem. The reason why it's a problem is because the strategy we developed and found to be very useful is you want to take as much damage as you can in that room. So what we do is collect all the mobs on either side. One person collects the left, I collect the right. We take a lot of damage from them until we are 25% health. Then we Havoc lock our health, then we Sword Splitter kill them, and then move on to Vampire. The reason why we do this is because we want to have maximum damage output from Havoc the second you fight Vampire King, because this lets you skip multiple shadow phases, except Blade Rune does struggle with this due to it taking too long to hit. We were never able to fully skip Vampire King using Blade Rune, but we were very consistently able to get him to half, and then after that, all the way down. Sometimes Vampire King can really screw you over. Your speedruns will always depend on if Vampire King's feeling nice to you today or mean. It is very, very, very hard to time your skips. The way we do it is we will communicate I Calamity when we get in there, the person lure jabs, and then they say go, 3 to 1, whatever works for you, then you throw at the same time to get the damage out. After I finish this run, the Blade Rune, I'm going to talk about the Azure Rune and why that's the actual best rune to speedrun with, but it's kind of risky, but I'll get into that later. Basically, you're going to try to skip the shadow phases instantly. Blade Rune can't due to it taking too long, but you know, you pretty much finish the boss normal after that, nothing crazy. Kill Vampire King, move on to the next room, kill the mobs. You're not holding them for damage in this one, you're just going to kill them like normal. Then you're going to move on to Hades. The second Hades spawns in, you will Calamity, Lure Jab, and then Havoc, and immediately Sword Splitter. This should, if you have good gear and a tier 5 pet gem, melt them. Anyways, this should melt normal Hades, and then True Form Hades should spawn in while the Sword Splitters are still down. This will cause them to take a little bit of damage, but not very much. True Form Hades can really screw over your run, so again, this is kind of another part where he can really mess you up. Basically, what you want to do is make sure you have the maximum damage Havoc the entire time, but a lot of the times you can use walls, black balls, the floating ability, just so many different things to mess up your runs. but if you can get him to use energy when you have Calamity and maximum damage Havoc up, that's when you can skip him. Your goal is to skip him, so every time he does give me your energy, whatever it's called, that's when you want to really pound out damage, because he's going to give you about 6 to 7 seconds of DPS time. You want to shred him during this time, and that means you can skip the entirety of the adventure phase. This doesn't always work, obviously, but we found that Blade Rune is super effective at killing True Form Hades. The reason why Blade Rune is not quite as good as Azure Rune for speedrunning is it can't instant skip Vampire King. But with that said, I'm going to move on to why I think Azure Rune is the #1 way to speedrun. It is very difficult to speedrun with Azure Rune, like super efficiently. It's not super consistent, but we were able to get our actual fastest times with it. Our fastest time was 2:02 with it. So what do you do with this? So it's going to be pretty much the same thing all the way up until Vampire King. Basically, first room, one person clears left, one person clears right. Then you go to Bone Cooper, do the exact same thing as Blade Rune, use Havoc right away and Calamity, take 2 sword swings or 1, and then use Azure, wipe him off the face of the earth, move on to the second room. Except for now, move on to the third room. Now that you're in the third room, you will no longer one-shot instantly because you don't have Blade Rune, which actually is beneficial. So you can very quickly collect the mobs to take damage. As soon as you're 25%, lock that damage, and then Havoc, kill the mobs, go to Vampire King. Now this is where you can really do fast runs. If you can perfectly time your double Azure with Vampire King, you can kill him before he uses a single shadow phase, except for you can get a little messed up. You can still instant wipe him, but he can sometimes use shadow last second, screwing over your run and making it so it's a wipe. This has happened to us several times. If you get Shadow Face stuck on you after he dies, it's a wipe. You literally can't make it across the bridge. It's impossible. So how do you instant kill him? Well, it's the same thing as Blade Rune. One person is gonna call out. The lure jab is the one who determines when you're gonna Azure. So you should both have Havoc at maximum damage. You should be sitting there, and then you'll Calamity right when he spawns in, and then the person lure jabs, and then they say go 3 to 1, whatever you want. Then you instant Azure, but you have to Azure exact same time within the first 2 seconds of Vampire King spawning in, otherwise you will get Shadow Phase locked. If you manage to wipe him immediately, you are looking at an easy 159 run to 210 run pretty consistently, but it's very hard to do this consistently. So we were able to do this a few times. It's very hard to do it, but the times we did do it, we got the fastest runs. If he doesn't die instantly, you can still kill him. You can still skip multiple shadow phases, it just takes a little bit more time. After you kill Vampire King, do the usual, move on to the mobbing room, kill all the mobs, you don't need to hold them for damage, then you're gonna move on to Hades. So you're gonna do the exact same thing as you did with Blade Rune. As soon as Hades spawns in, double Havoc, Calamity, Lure Jab, wreck Hades, 2 Azure Flame should instantly kill him, and then you move on to the True Form Hades. Depending on how True Form Hades is feeling, it really affects your runs. He may spam abilities, he may not, but what you want to do is the same thing as Blade Rune. Watch for energy phase. When energy phase is out, you really want to dish out damage. You are most of the time able to skip adventure phase, but sometimes we weren't able to do it. Literally just depends on what True Hades does ability wise. But it's pretty self-explanatory. As soon as you get to True Hades, there's really no special technique besides trying to have tier 3 Havoc damage and Azure and Calamity up when he has energy grab phase going on. But besides that, you're pretty much just going to do the usual killing strat. Watch out for his abilities, kill him as fast as you can. Well, hopefully you guys, this helps you a little bit with speedrunning Hardcore Tartarus. I don't know how many people are actually doing it. This video is more for fun, and yes, you really should have the best gear possible to do these. I don't expect people without any Frost Dragon armor to be doing a 2-minute Tartarus run, but you should try your best. Hopefully this helps you with farming, and I cannot wait to make videos on Frost Dragon soon. We've just been getting a lot of gear, and I've just been very busy in real life lately, so that's why videos have been slow, but I'm starting to get back into it. Anyways guys, thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope you stick around for more later this week. Bye!